Welcome. There you go. Awesome. Welcome to the City Council meeting, June 10th, 2025, City Council Chamber. We'll start with the prayer. Dear God, today's session opens. We pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction, which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Belanger.
Here.
Council Chow.
Here.
Council Dakota.
Here.
Council Gitchia. Here. Council Janess.
Here.
Council Mercia.
Here.
Council Noon.
Here.
Council Robinson.
Here.
Mayor Rourke.
Here.
Council Scott.
Here.
Council Yem.
Here.
11 present.
Moment of silence. We'll start with Council Yum.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and darken the chamber for Eugene Barubi, age 97, a former resident of Lowell and most recently of Tewksbury, passed away on Sunday, June 1st, 2025 in Lowell. He was born in Lowell on May 3rd, 1928, the sons of late Arthur and Eva Saville Barubi. Eugene enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1951 and served during the Korean War until his honorable discharge in 1954. He received a Purple Heart and is proud to be a veteran. He worked as a night veterinarian assistant in Linwood Animal Hospital in Lowell for many years and lived above the hospital. Eugene enjoyed local casinos, traveling to Las Vegas. He also enjoyed his daily gathering at Top Donuts in Lowell. He is survived by sister Jeanette Shaw of Omaha, Nebraska, a dear friend Ronald Tynan, many nieces and nephews and friends from Top Donut. He was predeceased by his brothers and sister Arthur Barubi, Doris Butler, Lorraine Hallner, Beatrice Russell, Paul Barubi, Rita Hoffman, Paul Mellon, Irene Cochran, and Richard Barubi. It is my honor to dedicate and sponsor a Hometown Hero banner on his behalf. Rest in peace, sir, and thank you for your service to our country. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber for Derek J. Heath, 33 of Lowell, who waged a courageous and hard-fought battle with melanoma. Derek was born in Lowell and was the beloved son of Erin Gilbride Heath and Derek Heath of Lowell. Corey.
Councilor Blanchard.
Yes, thank you very much, Councilor Mercia, sharing this honor. Derek graduated from Lowell Catholic High School in 2010, where he played sports and made lifelong friendships. Upon graduating from high school, he found his position in the machinery industry, where he was currently working as a machinist for A.G. Seneless Grinding Company. This is where co-workers became family, and he enjoyed his time spent working there. Everyone had a blast while in his company, and he was adored by his younger cousins, Sloan, Glenn, and Wyatt, along with his parents, Aaron and Derek. Derek will be deeply missed by his siblings, Kelsey and Logan. His paternal grandfather, David Heath, his maternal grandmother, Robert and Carol Gilbride, by many other godparents, cousins, and family, many relatives and friends. We offer our condolences to his family, relatives, and friends. Now, on a personal note, Derek Heath was a recipient of a polar plunge event that took place in January. Yes, so that included jumping in the Atlantic Ocean in January, and hundreds of people did it. And not only that, hundreds more were in attendance on the beaches, in the establishments, you'd think if you didn't look at the calendar, it was the 4th of July. It was that busy up there. In the spring, there was a local charity bar crawl for this family. And many of the downtown establishments were simultaneously busy, with hundreds and hundreds of people attending that. This family had a tremendous, tremendous amount of local support. My friends, relatives, and family members. It was a display like perhaps I've never seen. And that's a testament to who these two families were, the Heaths, the Gilbrides, and not only that, but the community we live in, that we're fortunate enough to live in the city of Lowell, where this community rallies to families such as this in time of need. So we wish this family the best in their healing process, and may Derek Heath rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Hey, Councilor. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On another note for the Derek Heath family and the Gilbride family, I'm honored to have present this along with Corey Belanger, because his grandmother was my maid of honor at my wedding, and I felt that I would like to have been a part of it. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'd also like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chamber for Antonio Tony Lorero, born and raised in Lowell in the back central section of Lowell, to parents who immigrated from Portugal, Porto, and the Azores, respectively. Tony went to St. Peter's School and played Little League baseball. He graduated from Keith Academy class of 1965 and served in the United States Army. While working at Honeywell in 1970, Tony met Linda, the love of his life, and they were married in 1973. While Tony and Linda were raising their family in the Highlands section of Lowell, Tony worked long, hard hours as an iron worker, Local 7, in South Boston, where he helped erect bridges, buildings across Boston's skyline, expanded Fenway Park, and closer to home, the Wang Tower in Lowell. Tony spent his free time watching and coaching his 4 daughters playing basketball. Tony will be missed by his wife of 52 years, Linda, and his 4 daughters, Kimberly Lorero, Congresswoman Laurie Lorero Trahan, it's a tongue twister, Amy D'Amico, and Bria Lorero, as well as his 10 grandchildren. Our condolences to his family, relatives, and many friends. And I'd also like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chamber to all those who passed away since our last city council meeting. May they all rest in peace. Thank you very much. Amen.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber to Thavon Chantachum, 47 of Lowell, passed away on May 26, 2025, at Lowell General Hospital after a period of declining health. Born in Kongsadon, Laos, he was beloved son of Nakan Chantachum and the late Don Zayavongsa. Thavon immigrated to the United States on October 8, 1980, and was a proud graduate of Lowell High School, class of 1996. He went on to attend Middlesex Community College. Thavon worked for several years as a skilled carpenter, specializing in flooring installation. Outside of work, he found joy in simple pleasures, playing cornhole and basketball, singing and dancing, and enjoying a game of poker with friends and family. He is survived by his longtime significant other, Monica Lapp, his loving children, Aiden Chantachum of Lowell, Mass., Adeline Chantachum, and Aaliyah Chantachum, his brother, Suksahon Chantachum of Lowell, and his sister, Fimason Chantachum, also of Lowell. Thank you very much.
Any others? Mr. Clerk, please darken the chamber. May they all rest in peace. Section 2, Mayor's Business 2.1, remote communication, Zoom participation. Motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Gitche, second by Councilor Janess. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. And also this evening, we have a proclamation. The month of June is Myasthenia gravis month, Paul? All right. It's, and we're here to To honor and recognize that, Mr. Sweeney, you want to say a couple of words concerning this?
Well, I want to thank Mayor Rourke and the entire City Council for the proclamation recognizing June as Myasthenia Gravis Awareness Month. Myasthenia gravis is a rare, non-contagious autoimmune disease. The precise number of people with the disease is unknown, but it is estimated between 50 and 65,000 people in the entire country. That's half of the population of Lowell. I am one of those victims. The causes of autoimmune diseases are unknown, but it is thought that a viral infection, for instance, the common cold, flu, or COVID, rarely can produce antibodies that not only attack the virus, but also attack body parts, having similar proteins. In MG, these antibodies attack the connection between the nerves and muscles, causing debilitating physical symptoms such as extreme fatigue and muscle weakness. The affected muscles and the degree of muscle weakness can vary from person to person and day to day, giving us the nickname snowflakes, because no two of us are alike. This variability often makes it difficult to find an effective treatment or even make a definitive diagnosis in some cases. It took over 13 months to find a treatment that worked for me. During that 13 months, MG impacted my ability to see, swallow, smile, walk, and even breathe. I was unable to climb a single flight of stairs without stopping multiple times to regain enough strength to lift my foot to the next step. Multiple drugs and drug combinations were tried without complete success. Almost all had some effectiveness, but they wore off before the next dose was due. However, in February of last year, I began receiving a weekly injection of a drug named Restigo, a drug that has placed me in almost complete remission. Currently, I only have a few mild symptoms, most noticeably a very slight eyelid droop. An interesting bit of MG trivia is that one of Walt Disney's familiar cartoon characters is modeled after a friend of Disney's who had MG. If you guess Sleepy, one of the seven dwarfs, give yourself a pat on the back. Some MG snowflakes have such noticeable eye droop that it looks like they are falling asleep. In fact, that was the first symptoms I exhibited that led directly to my diagnosis. In recognition of MG Awareness Month, I want to recognize and thank my own neurologist, Dr. Divya Shah of New England Neurological Associates, a specialist in treating MG, for sticking with me through the thick and thin of the failed treatments. During those 13 months, neither she nor I had any confidence that a successful treatment protocol would be found, but she kept trying. And not surprisingly, when Restigo began to work above and beyond expectations, we were both elated and still are. Despite my personal treatment success, there is no cure for myasthenia. More awareness is needed to raise the visibility of this disease throughout the country and the world to better develop and treat and potentially cure this and other autoimmune diseases. If anyone in the audience or watching at home wishes more information or would like to make a contribution, please go to the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of America's webpage at myasthenia.org. That's MYASTHENIA. Or phone them at 1-800-541-5454. Speaking not for myself, but for all victims of this cruel disease, I offer thanks to Mayor Rourke and the members of the council for issuing this proclamation, which has made a small contribution to raising the awareness of myasthenia gravis within the community of Lowell. Thanks again.
Just take a moment to read said proclamation. Whereas myasthenia gravis is a rare neuromuscular disorder that causes severe muscle weakness, often affecting a person's ability to see, smile, walk, talk, and breathe. While it's manageable for many through medication and other treatments, it can still be debilitating and, in some cases, life-threatening. Due to its complex and varied symptoms, myasthenia gravis is a frequently misdiagnosed, delaying essential care for those affected. And whereas an estimated 100,000 Americans currently living with MG, the rarity of this condition contributes to a general lack of awareness in many undiagnosed cases across the country. Early diagnosis and proper medical intervention are crucial in improving the quality of life and long-term outcomes for those individuals living with this chronic illness. The Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of America, MGFA, a not-for-profit organization established in 1952, plays a vital role in supporting patients and advancing research. Committed to its mission to create connections, enhance lives, and ultimately find a cure, the MGFA continues to lead efforts in advocacy, education, community outreach for those impacted by this challenging disease. Now therefore, I, Mayor Daniel P. Rourke, City of Lowell, along with my fellow councilors, do hereby proclaim the month of June as Myasthenia Gravis Awareness Month within Lowell, and urge all residents to learn more about this rare disease so that they may help support, promote, and generate more understanding within our community, given this 10th day of June, 2025. Thank you. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I'd like to suspend the rules and allow the motion 5.9 to come in.
Motion by Councilor Mercia, take 5.9 on board, second by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.9, Councilor Mercia. Request the Monument Committee meet to consider a plaque in the City Auditor's Office to commemorate the remarkable career of former Auditor James T. Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr.
There is a registered speaker here, Mr. Mayor. Thomas Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Manager, members of the City Council. On behalf of my father and the Kennedy family, I'd like to thank the City Council, particularly Councilor Mercia, for putting this motion forward. As some of you know, my father was the longtime city auditor. He spent almost 35 years of his life in service to the city, mostly as the city auditor, some towards the end of his career, some as the chief financial officer in the same seat that Mr. Baldwin occupies tonight. He was the chairman of the retirement board for almost the entire time he was here, and he also did, as Councilor Mercy can attest to, he also did numerous stints as interim city manager during that 35 years. Much of his work was done behind the scenes, but he was always grateful and very, very flattered that at the time, the 9 councilors were to get together and choose him continuously as the city auditor. He always considered it a privilege to serve, and he would be honored and deeply grateful for the motion that is before you tonight. And on behalf of him and my family, I would ask that the council support Councilor Mercia's motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am honored to bring this motion forward, and as well as your suggestion as well, Mr. Mayor, to ask that the Monument Committee consider a small token of appreciation for a man who gave his life to public service for the city of Lowell. James T. Kennedy retired from public service as Chief Financial Officer for the City of Lowell in 2007 in a career that spanned over 30-plus years. Jim served as the city auditor for many years and later as the Assistant City Manager / Chief Financial Officer as well. Jim was also the former chairman of the Lowell Retirement Board. Jim was also an honorary life member of the Lowell Lodge of Elks, of which he served as the exalted ruler in 1987 and was a longtime treasurer for the Elks. Jim also was a member of the Ancient Order of Hibernians. He was actively involved with the St. Patrick's Parish Irish Cultural Committee. He served for many years as the treasurer of the committee and was also treasurer for St. Patrick's School Alumni Association and the school golf tournament. I point this out because not only did he serve his city, he served his community, and he served his parish church. Jim passed away on March 3rd, 2020, and at the request of the family, I respectfully ask that my colleagues support this motion to send this request to the Monument Committee, which has the authority to design and install such commemorative plaques per the city ordinance. Jim was quite a remarkable man, a credit to his family, his city, and his church. Thank you. And if I might have to solidify this, a roll call vote so for this Monument Committee so that they could see. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Kennedy was a man that, as his son Tommy said, was kind of behind the scenes doing the work, and that's the way he wanted it. He liked it like that, but he got the work done. I might have seen him at the Ellis Club once or twice and had a beer with him, and could say that he's a fine gentleman, and this motion is well spoken for.
Council Getcha?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Thank you, Councilor Mercier. I think you highlighted his work career extremely well. Growing up in the Highlands, if you didn't know the Kennedy family and the kind person who was behind it, in Mr. Kennedy, who gave everything to that area and the family and how dedicated they were to making Lowell a better place, then you didn't know Jim Kennedy. His door was always open for people to come in and see him and sit down and have a amazing conversation. So I thank you again, Councilor Mercier, for putting this forward, and I look forward to voting yes on it.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janice.
Yes.
Counsel Mercier.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Yam.
Yes.
11 yeas.
Thank you very much.
Quickly, Section 3, City Clerk, 3.1, minutes of the City Council regular budget FY26 meeting, May 27th, and also the Environmental and Flood Issue Subcommittee, June 3rd, for acceptance by Councilor Chow, second by Councilor Belanger. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since we're on the suspended rule, moving up motion a little bit, can we suspend the rule and take up motion 5.10, please?
By Councilor Chow, second by Councilor Dakota, take 510 out of order. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 510, Councilor Chow. Request City Manager work the appropriate department to explore a parking permit or pass program for small businesses in areas with limited parking availability. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Chow.
There are registered speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Clerk.
May Kitt and Michael Kitt.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council here. My name is Michael Kitt. This is my brother, Men Kitt. We have been owning and operating Egg Roll Cafe over by University Ave for the last 20 years. We opened up a commissary also in Lowell. We chose to purposely open it up in Lowell as well and operate our food truck out of Lowell over the last 6-7 years. So you could say we're here to stay. We'd like to do another 20 years of business if possible. And today we're asking for some help with some challenges we've been having over by the University Ave area in terms of parking. The very limited business parking there, I should say very limited metered parking there, and we have about 30 employees, about 10 are full-time and the rest are part-time, and during the daytime they're paying meters that run up in 2 hours, sometimes some lots are 4 hours, and they're not able to move their car to park in another spot, so they're getting ticketed often daily, and they're $40 tickets at a time. Some signs are ambiguous. The meters only go till 6 o'clock, sometimes 8 o'clock. And as soon as the meter runs up, even though they're at a metered spot on street parking, they're still getting ticketed 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. Actually, just happened last night too. So it's kind of it's been taxing on us, if you will, no pun intended. But we're looking for some help to find a long-term solution. We've been trying to work with Mr. Terry Ryan, head of parking department, and we just, over the last 5 years, have been kind of stonewalled. So we'd like to see if we could put this on an agenda and see if we could proceed, find a way, find a solution to proceed, not just for us, but for all business owners throughout Lowell. And I understand that there's a certain amount of revenue that comes from the parking organization, and I think just from the friendly business owners we have throughout Lowell, most folks would be willing to pay for a permit if they were allowed, some type of access to that, and some type of communal parking area, in order to be able to just focus on their business, focus on customers, and focus on their staff. those are the kind of the three pain points we have with this. Customers will come in, they might order, $15 worth of food, but then they get a $40 ticket, and then they don't come back, right? Or they come in, they get a coffee and chat with a friend, and they get a $20 ticket. And our staff, it's been hard to retain staff who have to commute and park in that area. Some of them are parking 6-7 blocks away and walking down in order to show up to work. But yeah, I think that's my case here. So.
Yeah, hopefully the solution that we were looking for is for us to purchase some type of permit so that we can put in the employees' cars and then they can park in any type of residential parking. During the day, there's tons of residential parking in the area. I think it's a good compromise. We don't need dedicated spaces or anything like that. We don't need any dedicated spaces or anything. Just if we had a permit to say, hey, these are employees, kind of like how the city has city employees allowed to park, kind of the same thing. So if we can offer that solution to the businesses, we can start with University Ave, but it go world citywide afterwards. I think that'd be a comparable solution, so and a quick and easy one too.
Thank you. Any others, Mr. Clerk? No. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to thank the speakers for being here. They have business in Lowell, and one of them, they live in Lowell as well. I was contacted by other small business from different neighborhoods as well. I just want to be clear that every one of my colleagues on this council has addressed this parking issue for our small business in the past, and most recently, Councilor Scott and Councilor Cotto had a motion regarding monthly parking garage permit program for downtown businesses. This motion is just an expansion of that to the citywide neighborhood business corridors with limited parking availability. This motion is aimed to supporting our small business community. As we all know, they are the backbone of our local economy by addressing the lack of parking for the employees. Currently, small business employees often have to move their cars every few hours. As the speaker mentioned, this disrupts their workday and can disrupt employment, especially for lower wage workers. And we know that small business now really struggling to hire or retain their employees. Business, they don't want, in reality, they don't want the employees to park at meters. That's probably better reserved for customers to come in, the patronage to support them. The other cities across Massachusetts that are doing this already, like Brookline, Somerville, Worcester, and Cambridge, I believe. This motion is very simple, but I want to be clear, this does not impact the residential dwelling parking permit, which is specific to a residential dwelling. This is more general to the areas where they have residential parking permit only, but not in front of somebody's home who has the special permit. I'm asking the city manager and appropriate departments to study and report back on the feasibility of establishing a small business employee parking permit program here in Lowell. This could include limited parking access for employees in designated residential zones or underutilized side streets, equitable pricing models to ensure affordability for small businesses and workers. And as the speaker mentioned, we need clear signage and enforcement to protect both the businesses and the residents' needs. This is not about opening the floodgate to all-day parking in every neighborhood. This is about finding targeted, common-sense solutions that support our entrepreneurs and their workforce, especially in dense neighborhood business corridors and their workforce. I thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the entire City Council, if you could support this motion, and look forward to really helping and assisting the small businesses in our city in a real helpful way. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to commend my colleague for this motion. Councilor Dakota and I did make a motion. We limited it to downtown businesses. I think this makes total sense to expand it to the neighborhoods. I imagine it's very difficult in an area around the university, especially, to find parking for your employees. So if there's anything that we can do to offer some type of monthly permit and, as I said, extend it downtown and to the neighborhoods, municipal parking lots, I think it's an excellent idea. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank Egg Roll Cafe because I frequent there for lunch, and parking is tough. I mean, and they do a heck of a business. So I think this is a motion that kind of will be able to work with the small businesses like the Egg Roll Cafe. And I think there should be a compromise, a common ground that could be found on this that will allow, as was described, the employees just come to work and not have to worry about feeding the meter and being ticketed when a lot of these are low-wage earners, and these are part-time jobs for college students, amongst many others. So thank you for bringing this motion forward, and I'll be supporting this.
Councilor Noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Chow, for bringing up this motion. I commended the Egg Roll Cafe owners for coming in and speak on this issue. I think this issue is not only affect them, but affect the business in that areas as well, and particularly the whole city. When you have a small businesses that employees have difficulty parking, let alone the customer. I think I would urge the administrations to have the parking department maybe sitting down with some of this business and starting off with the University Ave businesses to see common solutions to this and how we can help them. I know you, Mr. Managers, and the administration has worked hard to help promote and expand small businesses in the city. This is one way to say we are here to help you and to support you any way we can. So appreciate the motion. Thank you.
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a very thoughtful motion by Councilor Chow, thinking in the best interest of our small businesses all throughout the city, not just in the downtown, but in every neighborhood. The biggest complaint I hear from small business owners is undoubtedly staffing and how difficult it is in recruiting and retaining good help today. Major challenge. And if we have that barrier in front of them, such as parking and fees and other costs associated, that exacerbates the problem, and that's what I think is the logic behind this motion. So I think it's a good one. I think it could extend all the way to the downtown if we do it as a whole, and obviously some neighborhoods will be more challenging than others. But I think it's a good concept, well worth exploring, to give our small businesses every advantage they can get. So I intend on supporting it. Thank you.
Councilor Dakota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Councilor Scott had alluded to, we had brought this motion before for downtown. So I guess I would ask you first for an update on where we are with the downtown and obviously amending that to the University Ave corridor.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councilors, we're probably a few weeks away from bringing something forward in regards to an ordinance that would give us a little bit more flexibility. As the council knows, the ordinance is very challenging. Over the years, things were added to the ordinance, and I know that the solicitor's office is taking a deep dive to try to just clean up some of the inconsistencies of a particular street versus the next particular street. As everybody knows, not to get back into the 2-hour parking downtown, but we originally want to move that, and I think there could be more flexibility from the administration standpoint to see what works and what doesn't work. In this matter, I mean, we do have a Gershom Ave, which the team and I were just looking at, the Gershom Ave or Gardner Ave, whichever one you want to call. There's, by my count, through Google Earth, there's 37 units of parking there. We could take a look at that. And once again, just by my rough count, there are what I would say 6 or 7 businesses in that area that there's more, but it appears to me that other businesses in that area have parking. So maybe there's something we could do with that open space lot. I do know that we invite the university to park there as well. The university has a very large lot over on Riverside Street that everybody knows about. Maybe there's something we can do with that. But if you want to give us just a tad more time, and I know I've asked for a lot of time, but I want to commend the solicitor's office for really unraveling what has been done over the past decades, actually, with different streets and things of that nature. Once again, I want to be very clear, any of the financing of parking would lie, in my opinion, would lie strictly with the council. But any of these things that we could move around a little bit quicker to try to help some of our small businesses, that's the flexibility I think I'd be looking towards to make sure that the council is satisfied with that. So we could have something in the next 2 to 4 weeks in front of you just to kind of review and get your opinion on, where we'd be able to go into different areas throughout the city that are requesting it from the neighborhoods to see what they want to do. And this would be one of those neighborhood actions I think could participate. And once again, with the flexibility in the ordinance, if it doesn't work, we could change it in the following week. Our goal would be to strive to make sure it works for every neighborhood. And no two neighborhoods in the city are the same. So we might have some different things to juggle around. What is true in one section of the city may not be true in the other section of the city.
Appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Turning to Section 4, General Public Hearings, 4.1 on law and order, 40 Market Street. We need a motion to refer to the public hearing on June 24th, 2025, 7 p.m. by Council Jeanette, second by Council Noon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 5, City Council motions. 5.1, Councilor Getchia requests City Manager provide the City Council with an update on what is being done about the unregistered dirt bikes driving recklessly on the streets and sidewalks throughout the city. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. I've had an opportunity to speak with the manager, and I would just ask that we wait 2 weeks for a report to come back. I thank you for the time, for the call today, and I'm looking forward to seeing the report in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Councilor Kachia, for bringing up the motions. This is an ongoing thing every summer. We have these issues. I know that our police department have drone out there and more or less identify where some of these dirt bikes is going to be at and stuff. So, I just look, I understand the no pursuit policies and all that, but if we can do more to help the resident, and you hear every neighborhood and every neighborhood meeting, they're talking about it, and they just say they had enough of it. So thank you, Councilor Kachia, for bringing it up.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.2, Councilor Getchia requests City Manager provide the City Council with an update on the creation of a Citizen Tree Committee. Seconded by Councilor Jeunesse. Councilor Getchia.
Mr. Mayor, could I suspend the rules to have a resident speak on this motion, please?
By Councilor Getchia, seconded by Councilor Jeunesse. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is William Nichols. I live at 48 Rendell Park Drive. And the subject about a Citizen Tree Committee, this is not the first time it's come up. I just found out about a situation that is looking at removing 8 to 10 trees on Van Greenby Road. I was not aware of that until I attended the Highlands neighborhood meeting last night. And I took a ride there today to take a look at it because I walk that street all the time. And I think the idea of taking those trees down on that street, I'm against. I know that's not what this motion is per se, but I think it's important that there be some type of a review other than just making a decision citywide to take down trees. That street in particular is a very quiet street. I walk it all the time. I think when I look at the question of what I heard last night was that sidewalks are impinging the trees, and therefore, or the trees are impinging the sidewalks. And I don't know if it's the other way around or not. It's, in my opinion, I think a review committee would make sense to be taking a look at tree removals. One, you'd have people that would be able to go out, take a look at the trees, assess whether or not they are some type of an impingement on the roadway or the sidewalks. And I think you have to take a look at what are the neighborhoods involved where the trees are. This is a very quiet street. I think even myself, walking down there, I often walk on the sidewalks. Yes, they're up a little bit, and they do impinge my walking a little bit. But if they were that severe, I could walk around them because it's a non-traffic related street. So I think that's one of the things to kind of consider as a council. I know that this subject has come up at the Highlands neighborhood meeting in prior years. We've discussed it, but it never really went anywhere. I think it's a good idea to have a citizen tree committee. I stand here tonight and I volunteer to be on that committee. I know the town of Lexington has a similar thing because I have friends that live there. And they frequently, and matter of fact, one of the friends was on such a committee. And I think they really value trees. And in the city of Lowell, I think it's really important because trees are being cut down left and right. Those of us that lived in the Highlands, and myself included, that played up on Wedge Street where the water tower is now, we remember that Wedge Street always had both sides filled with trees. It was a beautiful street to come up, and those trees are gone. It's a different issue because I think a lot of them were related to disease. But I think in looking at the trees in Van Greenby, I don't think we need to take them all down. And I think if there was a citizen committee that reviewed that, then came forward, that there might be a little bit of a different recommendation. Maybe not all 8 to 10 trees, but a few trees probably would have to be taken down. But again, I'm here just to speak on council, Getchia's motion on having a citizen review committee on trees. Thank you very much.
Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nichols, and I do appreciate you coming before the council. The council knows this as well. We have been working towards developing an ordinance, which we actually did receive money from DCR. And let me be clear, the last thing we want to do is take trees down. So I do know that I'll be talking with the commissioner to find out which trees could be in jeopardy of being taken down. And a lot of the times that has to do with either utility issues or ADA issues. So I don't want to leave here tonight thinking all of Van Greenby is going to be cut down. I want to make sure that everybody knows that, and I'll make sure that that doesn't happen. We are going to put your name on. Thank you very much for already, we might actually make you the chairman of said committee. So, with the money that we receive from DCR, just to answer the question that the council has brought up before, we do have that grant moving forward. We should be moving forward in the next couple of weeks to start the process by which to develop the ordinance as well as the tree committee itself. And quite frankly, if that's something that you're looking to be on with the urban mastery, the urban master plan for forestry, I think we might take your phone number. So if that's okay with you, and I'm very serious about that. Ms. Moses, Catherine Moses, has been working on this, and I know that she's looking to try to get this done by the end of June, where the kickoff time would be by the end of June, July, right in that range, since we're here. And I'd love to reach out to you at some point to see if there's other folks that maybe want to help shape this forward. But first and foremost, I think we need to discuss the Van Greenby thing, and if Mr. Machado can get your information or through Councilor Getchia, we'll make sure that we have that discussion with all the folks over in Van Greenby of what's going to happen. I just want to be crystal clear. There'd be no clear cutting of the street.
Councilor Getchia?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. We've been trying to drive this way for approximately 2 years and trying to get this done. I was fortunate enough to work for the town of Lexington and have those bylaws in place that we had to work around during construction. When we look at ADA compliance, there are ways to set grades that it goes over the trees and will protect them. The beauty of the neighborhoods, if you take the acre, we clear cut down there. Now it's a heat island. And we got even UMass Lowell pushing back. Now they're having, during Arbor Day, they're planting trees over there. But the city keeps pushing and cutting and pushing and cutting. We did it on Viola and Norcross. When you go up there, it doesn't look like the same neighborhood that we all loved and grew up in. And, trees are needed in neighborhoods to keep asthma down, and many other chronic breathing issues that come without having them in neighborhoods. It's extremely important that inner cities start stepping up. Cambridge shoots grades around and they don't cut trees. The last thing they do is cut trees. And we're always trying to compare ourselves to Cambridge when it suits our needs. And then when we look the other way, we just come in and say, money. We're up there now. We're adding asphalt to areas where we had concrete, and it's adding heat to that area. And that's not what we want to do. We want to go the other way. And I understand it's a cost savings with asphalt over concrete, but we're also creating heat islands. And up in that area, when the beauty of the neighborhood is much to the trees, like much as Mr. Nichols outlined, other areas of the city we used to love with the trees. You know, you go look at Highland Street and you see all the trees gone over there by the Rogers School that once really beautified it. You go to Andover Street, you're starting to see them all just go away. That neighborhood was built, Van Greenby, 1950s. Those trees were put there back then. Yes, there are challenges with the sidewalks. There's no question that the sidewalks are concrete and they were there back then. But I do think engineering today, there's plenty of ways around it that we can make it work. And I'm praying that we don't just go over there and cut all those trees down. And I look forward to having this discussion in the upcoming weeks with you, Mr. Manager, and also with the DPW Director on ways that we can mitigate any cutting of trees down over there. So thank you again, and I thank my colleagues for always supporting trying to get this together. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While we're under suspension of the rules, I'd like to move that we take up item 7.5.
By Councilor Janess, seconded by Councilor Noon. Take 7.5 out of order. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 7.5 is a vote to adopt the housing production plan, the DPD. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much.
You have a speaker as well?
No speaker.
We allow.
Jenny, I call it for you, so I got here early for you. So.
Hi everyone. For the record, Fran Sigliano, Senior Planner. We don't have a presentation. It's just a vote, but I have Jenny Raitt, the Executive Director from NIMCOG here, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have about the housing production plan. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Councilor Janess.
No real questions. I've been through this a couple times thanks to NEMCOG and reading through this, but I just wanted to thank everyone who's weighed in on this and put the effort in. There's been a lot of good work here to develop this plan, to give us a path forward to deal with the housing crisis that exists here in Lowell and really regionally. I'd just like to point out some of the highlights from page 12 here. According to this plan, by 2030, Lowell will have 3,150 or more new year-round housing units, 800 or more net new SHI units, 599 or fewer number of units lacking complete plumbing facilities, 36.6% of smaller proportion of households that are housing cost burdened, 18% or smaller proportion of households that are severely housing cost burdened, and a 6% vacancy rate across the city. I think these would be good steps from where we are now, and I'd like to see us adopt this and move forward with trying to ease the housing crunch. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I thank everyone for putting this report together. I have some serious concerns, though. I think, again, this is no different than when we convened, Councilor Scott and myself requested a summit on how to address some of the issues that we're having with the unhoused and housing in the city of Lowell. And what I see with this plan is just basically, how can Lowell continue to do more? At what expense? I see numbers like Lowell Housing has currently 3,400 units in the city, and the new term of SHI. This plan looks to add an additional 800 units of very low income units. A lot of these areas, are struggling with economic development, and I hear that from my colleagues and I hear that from the public. Our business community suffering. A lot of this plan doesn't factor in disposable income at all. 7.5% of Lowell's housing stock is made up by low income to moderate income residents. I think there's some balancing that needs to happen with this. I think a lot of this path forward, so to say, is This is stuff Lowell has been doing. Take Centerville, for example. I know there's a push statewide to increase the housing inventory. Let's look at my district. 130 units in the past year and a half of new housing inventory have been developed, with an additional 17 coming up. Market rate. And it's balancing some of the subsidized and, quote, affordable that's been pushed on us repeatedly. And I think this is more of that. I also see that there's mention in this plan of housing first for the unhoused. Again, it's how can Lowell do more? We're not encouraging surrounding communities to step up with plans like this. We're basically saying we're looking for paths forward to take on what surrounding communities don't want to address. And I mean, I'm sorry, but there's no way. I've spoke to many people in my district, and there's no way I can support a plan like this. Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. To the council, and I think we all know this, these are ideas that have been brought forward by the committee as all, and they still need to be ratified by the city council if the changes were to happen. So voting on this plan tonight doesn't change anything. We would still need to move forward, to go before zoning, et cetera, and the council would still have an opportunity to weigh in at that time. This is once again a plan. Our planners do this to try to find out what could possibly happen in the future through the 68 focus groups and whatever the attendees through citywide problem. So this does not change what happens here in the city of Lowell tonight, just as a point of clarification.
But we're being asked to vote on a plan, and I'm speaking to the plan that's presented and asked for my support of. I can't support this plan.
Council, Mr. Mayor, through you to the council. No, I understand, but I want it to be clear that this does not change anything. This is a plan that we would then continue to work towards to move forward if the council so desired to change the zoning for this to happen. That's all. So a vote in the negative is fine, whichever you wish, but a vote in the affirmative does not change anything until we go to zoning, et cetera. Fran, I want to make sure that is correct, that I'm saying it the right way.
Yes. So the advantage of creating a housing production plan is that once you, as a community, adopt the housing production plan, you gain preference in state grants. That is a major advantage of adopting the plan, but it does not change any legislation. And it provides a menu of changes that the council could consider to increase housing production, but none of the strategies that are outlined in the plan are being voted on by adopting the plan. So some of them, if the council has a desire to pursue, they can pursue or direct staff to develop policies addressing those things. But if there are recommended policies included in the plan that the council does not want to see implemented, they don't have to be implemented. But the adoption of the plan really, the main advantage is that the state will give us preference for funding.
So the adoption of this draft plan or this finalized plan is basically aimed at receiving grant money from the state for some of this stuff?
Yes, so whatever specific policies change, whether that's programs or ordinance changes, things that the council does have an appetite for, if we were to apply for state funding to advance those efforts that the council agrees we should be pursuing, we, by adopting this plan, would be at a higher, viewed higher, but anything in the plan that the council does not want to pursue, we don't need to.
So in essence, though, with the adoption of this plan, we as a city kind of become a little bit more dependent on state funding to do anything with any of these priorities of housing in line. Because again, we're setting ourselves up repeatedly to chase state funding and grant funding instead of private funding and private development. And with the political climate on the federal level, I mean, is it really wise to be chasing all of this grant in order to even move Lowell forward? It's not becoming independent, it's becoming more reliant on outside funding mechanisms with a lot of these initiatives. And again, a lot of these are statewide initiatives. We've seen historically, in some instances, these initiatives from the state don't take into consideration the impacts on local communities. And as a result, we'll be left with the loss and the lack of economic development, even though, yes, we'll be prioritized for grant funding for some of these initiatives, but to what impact to existing businesses as well as existing residents. And so I think there's a lot of things within this plan that I'm not sure were really worked out the real implications of. I think it sounds great on paper, but the real life implications, I think, is something that we can't close that door if we start chasing these grants.
Councilor Kitcher, oh, sorry, was you want to speak in? No, Councilor Kitcher, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to the speaker. Do you know how many communities that NEMCOG represents?
Certainly, and good evening. Jennifer Raitt, Executive Director of NIMCOG, all 9 communities. Billerica, Chelmsford, Dracut, Dunstable, Lowell, Pepperell, Tewksbury, Tingsboro, and Westford.
How many of them have a plan like this that you're pushing forward in those communities that have been accepted? Or why wouldn't we have a housing plan that creates the same process throughout our area if the state is pushing this? Is it something that's been pushed at the other communities?
All of the other communities currently have adopted and approved housing production plans.
The same as restrictions as this?
Yes.
Okay, so we've been through this rodeo many times already. We went through this rodeo with the MBTA about grants, and I think it's a bunch of BS. I've been to every single zoning board meeting and planning board meeting where we sat there and this plan was used against us, even though it isn't even adopted. We've had attorneys stand there and say, well, this is the plan Lowell wants, so let's build on undersized lots in neighborhoods, where we had neighbors stand up and say, absolutely no way do we want that. We can look around, you look at Wellman, you look at Gibson, you go down to Maple, you look around at all these streets that the neighbors do not want this. And they foot the bill. And I just think this is way over aggressive, and it's not going to benefit the city the way that we're being told. And when are we going to start pushing for our neighborhoods back? The plan breaks the middle class, the elderly, and makes many environmental issues in the city. And we keep pushing it. We don't even have a wastewater treatment plant that can handle what we have right now. And we're spending, Mr. Manager, how much are we spending in the Centerville to separate the water sewer over there?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Through to the council. In total, it's going to be 175, probably $50 to $60 million. And I don't hold me to that.
Yeah, $175 million, and that's one phase of a multi-phase thing because our water and sewer is overrun. And here we are pushing to overrun more because we don't have an ounce of thought about the infrastructure as we just keep throwing building and building. And this body pushed to have all of that inspected and have plans put in place before we're allowing building in certain areas already. We can't take on this. We talk about future growth, but I haven't seen a plan in place yet for the schools to prepare for this either. Our schools are overrun. They're run down. We can't fit the 15,000 kids we have already in it, but let's build more. When other communities aren't even pushing nearly like you are. Dracut has pushed against some of the building out there already, and they got way more land than us. It's not even close. It's about time we see the state stand up and start pushing it elsewhere. Just like they talked about the homeless here when we took the shelter down here. We got 23 communities that have agreements with us, and they've done nothing for us. They wouldn't even go to a meeting that was put on by the same people presenting this. They didn't even show up. And here we are. We cannot take on the world's population in the city of Lowell. If we build this many, you'll want more, and then they'll want more. When are we saturated when we say enough is enough in this city? All you have to do is listen to the neighborhoods who come before the zoning board and they try to protect their area every single time a builder comes in and tries to push forward. And it's this council's responsibility to start listening to them. And I get it, you get elected, and I understand that. Your neighborhood elects you, but I think this is a major, major hiccup in it. And I know that there's many districts. If you go to Belvedere, I'm 100% sure they're not on board with this. You go to the Highlands, I could tell you they're not on board with this. Yeah, you may get a few residents here and there who are part of putting this study together, that in this, but this is just absent. I'm not going to waste any more time with it. I think that we vote no and we push in a different direction going forward. This plan was done 2 to 3 years ago. It was done at a time when we had different atmosphere in the city, and it has changed. So I won't be supporting this either tonight.
Councilor Janas?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm looking at this a little differently. I'm looking at all the communities around us that have adopted a housing production plan and listening to the discussion about how that puts those communities ahead of us for some of this funding. If you look at the housing stock across the city, it's getting older. It's not getting younger. And we can put up a closed sign and not have anyone else move into Lowell if that's what we want to do. That's not what I want to do. Moving to Lowell was an opportunity for me. It's been an opportunity for many of the residents of this city. I'm not willing to close the door because we don't want to build any more housing. I think it's important that we move forward with this because with no housing production plan, what are we doing? We're just going to shut everything down and just not build anything anymore? And just let all our existing housing fall apart? Talked about other communities not doing anything. Well, they've all adopted a housing production plan. Whether or not anything gets built, who knows? A plan is a plan. But I think it's important that we do adopt this. A lot of work went into this, and it didn't happen 2-3 years ago. It's been happening continuously to get us to this point. I don't really see the benefit of hitting a reset button and starting over.
Councilor Noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to Francisca, and particularly for the DPD Assistant City Managers, Giovanni Barrosis and her team, as well as the NIMCOG, and those many others who will partake in this discussion. Is not just happened today. It's been gone on for almost 2 years now, the discussion on this and input from various neighborhoods, organizations, and if not all of us in this council, most of us do agree that we do have housing crisis in not just this city, and not just this state either. And that discussion, and we all understood as well that, look, with MBTA zone overlay, if we didn't go with the state, you're not going to get funding for housing production. Same as this. And if you heard tonight that NIMCOG representing a number of surrounding community, and they had adopted the housing production plan. And we say no to it. That on us. And by saying yes to it does not mean that the housing is going to pop up in every neighborhood in this city, like mushroom. I haven't seen that happen. People talk about it all the time. You can't say we have housing crisis and then say no to housing. So I will support this plan because this plan not saying that the zoning board and the planning board, you have nothing to say on this. They still do have things to say. Thank you.
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I do appreciate the comments of my colleagues, and I would like to start by thanking the committee members of Lowell Forward Homes and Housing Subcommittee. This report's very in-depth, no doubt. A lot of time and effort went into it. And I think we can all acknowledge we're in a housing crisis. That is not a breaking news by any means. And we are doing City of Lowell more than our fair share. We already have 2 to 3 times in affordable housing of what's required by law. I'm not saying we entirely stop and put on the brakes. So no, we have an obligation. We serve this population, and we have an obligation to help them as best as we can. But what's expected of us, I think, is unfair. Now, it seems to me in the last 3 some odd years to 4, single-family zoning, due to this housing crisis, has been under attack. With the city of Lowell not accepting the ADU proposal, but the state overrode us earlier this year. We don't have much of a choice. A bill in the legislature, yes, God's in my backyard, where it allows churches and religious organizations to build almost indiscriminately as they wish in our single-family neighborhoods. And when I see things like this, that there's some good in here. I don't want to totally write this thing off. Absolutely, some good to go on here. But when I see things like allow two-family developments in some areas where only single-family zoning is allowed, that sounds a lot like my district. When I see paragraphs such as increase housing to address a 3,000-unit mismatch between those who can afford $300 a month or less. With today's construction costs, that nearly has to be 80–90% subsidized. So I don't even know how the economics work for a developer to make something like that, unless it's almost entirely subsidized again. You know, I don't know what more we can do. Okay, I have spoken here about increasing the tax base time and time again, and that is by creating new housing in our urban renewal areas. We have the growth potential, there's no doubt about it. We have the Front Runner City on the pipeline, MBTA Communities Act, just to name a few, that will allow a lot of housing development in high-rise, where transportation is plentiful, walkable, where services and shops are walkable. And who's going to support them if we don't try to attract a mature audience that has disposable income? That's what I'm trying to achieve here in this city at the same time. So this, to me, is asking too much of the city of Lowell on top of what we're already done and what we are doing. My district entirely, almost predominantly single-family zoning. I don't think it's going to be well received if I know my district, and I know I do. That being said, I have difficulty supporting this here tonight. I look at it in my district as an 80-20 issue, not in favor. I'm not going to support this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor, get your guy.
Thank you, through you to the speakers again. Could you provide this council with the other 8 production plans for the other communities? Is that something that's readily available that we can get?
All of the adopted housing and certified housing production plans are on the state's Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities website, but I would also be happy to provide that to the manager's office.
Yeah, because when we went through all of this, I didn't see anybody else's production plan. I only saw what we were in the neighborhoods, we were putting stickers on things, and we were saying, what do, like 20 people who were there, 60 people who were there, they're defining what 115,000 people are going to be like. So I would love to see those production plans, because I want to see what the comparativeness is between the one that was put forth. And nobody in here, especially myself, said that we didn't need a housing production plan. I don't think this one is the one. So it's not against anybody in here saying we don't need one, because that was never once said out of anybody's mouth. What was said is we need better solutions, and we need to understand what our neighbors want and what they're going through. This isn't shove it down someone's throat and see you later type of government. And I just think when we start looking at all of this, Massachusetts has a population crisis, has a housing crisis, not Lowell. So when we look at it, let's see what other people are actually doing, and let's get on the same. And maybe this time when we invite them, they'll actually show up. But I doubt it, just like they did to us with the homeless. So let's push it to Lowell, and we'll, live in our nice community, well, they take on all of these things. And, I have been at those meetings, and I have witnessed our neighborhoods push back on these things and say no. And I think everybody in here has gotten the phone calls. It just comes down to, I get where we're going. As Councilor Belanger outlined, there are plenty of projects going on in this city, and we are far exceeding anything this city has done in the past to get to this place. People can look at it any way they want, but at the end of the day, our job is not to drive the middle class out of the city. What it is to do is keep our elderly so that they can afford, and cut back on subsidies so people can actually afford things in the city. And I think you're pushing as we get tighter and tighter in neighborhoods, you're watching the middle class move out. Thank you.
Councilor Mercia and Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that this is a very difficult situation. People say we need housing. I'm not going to deny that. But I look around and I see on Summer Street, 19 units going up. A little further down, more units are going up. The Ridge Club of Greater Lowell, 15 units, possibly up to 20 for homeless veterans. And I could go on and on. I had a list at home. I didn't bring it with me, but I could go on and on about all the buildings that are going up with more affordable housing and market rate. And it's good. It's good. Where something was torn down on the corridor of Merrimack Street, that's looking beautiful. And there's beautiful, clean housing for people. I'm not going to deny that. But when do we stop saying something like, let's increase the ADU ordinance and mixed use and allow two-family development in some areas where only single family is allowed? I'd like you to go to Belvedere and tell the people, that lot next to you, this is a single-family neighborhood, but we're going to put two-family in over there, and we're going to put an ADU behind it. When does it end? I mean, what about other communities? Let them step up to the plate. I mean, I like to have people move here, but I don't want to destroy the character and the integrity of the neighborhoods. And I think this vote is starting to do that. And I'm not going to vote for this. I'm sorry, and I know a lot of work went into it. I know the manager signed a paper. I think the world of him, but we do disagree sometimes. And I was married 41 years to my husband, and we disagreed too, so don't take it personal. And I will say that I'm sorry, but I can't support it. Thank you.
Councilor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This plan, housing production plan, is in the work for over 2 years, where community members came together, various neighborhoods, talked about the needs. Majority of the people do need affordable housing. And when we say affordable housing, that means the housing that the living, working family can afford. Of all the neighborhood in the city of Lowell, the acre has shouldered a lot of housing production because the needs is there, and the needs as population grow. We had a 27 unit that was opened by CBA at 555 Merrimack Street. The acre crossing 32 units. That's home ownership, affordable home ownership. Suffolk Place will be online very soon, another 33 unit affordable. Then we have 735 former food bank headquarters on Broadway. That will be another 52 unit. So all the housing production is to meet the needs of the community of our city, growing population. So we need to look at those needs, and then we need to work together to come up with the solution of providing more housing, so that the more production, more housing, the less expenses it supplies and demand. So more housing will help reduce the cost of each housing rental and sales. So I will wholeheartedly support this forward housing production. Thank you.
Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. I don't want to repeat some of my other colleagues' comments, but Councilor Belanger mentioned that he thought it was 80-20 in Belvedere. Well, I'll tell you, it's at least 90-10 in the Upper Highlands, and I'm the voice of that district. And I believe, I'll take a line from my colleague who also lives in the Highlands, I believe we're trying to move the middle class out of this city. I will not be voting for this at all. Thank you.
Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate all my colleagues' comments, and I want to thank the committee for this hard work. A lot of work into it, a lot of thoughts go into it, and the results in the package presented to us. There are a lot of good proposals and some that that I don't agree with, but I think that's a sentiment from every councillor on this board, is that it's a good step, it's a good thought, but it's not a complete satisfaction to everyone, which is normal, it's fine, nobody can agree on everything. What I was concerned with most is what, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Manager, is about the funding aspect. Why I agree that, we may agree or disagree on some of the projects, but, we shouldn't have, again, it shouldn't be playing off affordable housing versus market rate housing, because we know to have a healthy city, we need both. And from what I understand, if we solely depend on private developers, they won't do affordable housing. They only want to do market rate development. But we do need affordable housing in the city and so forth. So on the aspect of receiving funds and grants, if we don't approve this plan, does that mean every proposal, every project that we want to do, I know we could pick project by project, but if you don't approve it, does that mean the state funding is out of question 100%? Or is it still project by project still?
No, that's not correct, Councillor. As Fran had said, it would put us, as grants are being reviewed, we'd sort of like get points in the review process, but it doesn't disqualify us if we don't have a plan. It doesn't disqualify us from funding.
Okay. Thank you for that. So still sort of project by project, whether we should get the grant or not, whether we approve this plan or not. Let's say we do approve it, as the manager mentioned, is that it's not a free for all. It's like every project will be approved, any development be approved. It has to go through the zoning board, has to go through appropriate permits. Is that correct?
That is correct. So this plan is like any other planning document that we've brought before the council, where some things work and some things don't. Some things we choose to pursue sooner rather than later. Other things we decide to wait, and some things we decide not to pursue at all. So there are a lot of recommendations in the plan. If the council had recommendations that they wanted DPD to prioritize that related to a zoning change, for example, it would follow the same process that we do now related to zoning changes, where it would come to the council, you would send it to the boards for their recommendation, and then it would come back to the council for a final approval. So adopting this plan doesn't change that process in any way. It doesn't change any ordinances related to zoning at all. And it also, doesn't say, similar to the open space plan or the master plan, that, we're likely not going to get to everything in the whole plan before we need to write a new one. So, prioritization of the recommendations in the plan could also be determined by the council if it is approved.
Thank you. I do understand the concern from my colleagues about having, when you approve a plan like this, we are elected by our residents, by our neighbors, to do the right thing for our constituents. And I think that if we were to approve this plan, if these projects will move, any of the projects moving forward, that we don't have a say in it, it's going to negatively impact many neighborhoods. Just not one neighborhood over the other, because I believe that each of us represent a specific district, but we also have at-large councilors that represent the entire city. And we all want to have the same quality of life, quality standard of life, services, development, so forth, throughout the entire city, not just one neighborhood over the other. I'm more concerned, I think, hearing that the councilors elected by our constituents, we still have a say, reduce their input project by project. I don't understand why we would not approve the plan overall, because I don't think any of the project, we went through the ADU vote, we went through the MBTA zoning vote already, and every single one of those votes, we all say the same thing, that we want to make sure that we have, a say. We want to have, make sure that the inputs from the residents, from the neighbors into it. And I think the city departments, the administration, the zoning board representatives, they all listen to the residents. And I think we've been very, very successful in making sure that any new development is appropriate, remain the character, the integrity of each neighborhood. So we're not giving up anything, but I think if anything, we're leaving ourselves to be favorable to receive funding from the state and the federal. And, we just passed a budget over $600 million, and, more, half is really for the school, but we're not going to have enough budget, we don't have enough funding in our city to do the things that we want to do. And if we close our doors, close ourselves to more funding, I don't think we're able to, as a city as a whole, we're not able to move forward. And I believe that other communities, they're thinking the same thing, that they approving the plan. I agree with Councilor Gitcher. We want to see the plans from other communities. But I would say that they have the same ideas, have the same thinking, approve the plan, but they still stay in control. They still stay in control of what projects will be approved, will be forward. And, I rather, be in a position of receiving funding grants and also still have the say, have residential input, the zoning board inputs, our input to approve every plan going forward. I don't agree with everything in the plan. I agree with Councilor Mercier and many of my councilors. There's some neighborhood, single-family residents. I don't think two families should go there. But I think the approve the plan overall, that would just leave us open to receive more funding, give us actually more freedom, give us actually more authority to say and to have the resource to do more in our city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. That's all. Councilor Robinson.
When you're done speaking, Mr. Mayor, can we ask for a roll call on this?
Has to be a roll call. The comments of, of the councilors, this is just, again, it's a plan. Nothing's being shoved down anybody's throat. Everything that's in this plan has to go through the necessary boards where residents, neighborhoods, councilors will all have their say in it. Voting this plan down, I believe only hurts the city in funding resources, not just in the housing market, but and I have no problem with trying to help out our homeless veterans. I have no problem helping out our elderly. They have subsidized housing. A lot of them do in the city. And again, nothing that we're doing tonight, if we accept this plan, sets anything in stone. This is just something to go forward. Every other city in town and this district has done it. I see no harm in doing it. If someone wants to bring Stephen wants to bring a motion to ordinance to go from a single family to a two-family neighborhood, imagine that no one council would vote for it, and you'd have 500 people in the council chambers. So that's what my thoughts are on it. And Mr. Clerk, roll call. Motion to adopt by Councilor Yams, seconded by Councilor Janess. Roll call.
Councilor Belanger.
No.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
No.
Councilor Gitchia.
No.
Councilor Janess.
Yes.
Councilor Mercier.
No.
Councilor Noon.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
No.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
No.
Councilor Yam.
Yes.
Motion fails.
5.3, Councilor Gittier requests city manager have the proper department provide the city council with a policy for notification on road closures due to road work within the city. Seconded by Councilor Robinson. Councilor Gittier.
Mr. Mayor, would it be possible, if it's okay with Councilor Gittier, to bundle 5.3 and 5.4? They're pretty identical.
Councilor Gittier. 5.4, Council Robinson requests city manager of the property department routinely provide construction updates to the public regarding any and all construction projects on Route 110 that impact traffic in Centerville. Second by Councilor Getchia. Councilor Getchia, you're up first. Thank you. Councilor Robinson, you're up first.
I mean, this just came about. I believe it's a DOT project happening on 110, and I'm sure there'll be others because there is a lot of construction on the way. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm sure the manager's office, as well as my colleagues, fielded calls. I've had people that were stuck in traffic trying to get children to daycare for 45 minutes to an hour. It's just, I don't know what the process is, but, and again, a lot of this is maybe scheduling, weather dependent. You get notification from DOT that they're gonna be doing this project in this time frame. It rains, maybe it gets pushed off, but anything we can do to increase that communication, and I think the city's been doing really good with that. I do see a lot of blasts going out saying construction on so-and-so road, Beaver Street Bridge is closed, see, these are the detours. Anything we can do to kind of bolster that, especially on 110. And I also do have a concern where, I'm not sure, maybe through you to the solicitor, I'm told construction projects on main thoroughways like that are supposed to be not before 9 a.m. on weekdays. And I mean, that was shut down at 7 a.m. Peak morning traffic time. And I mean, you had trucks that were coming back from the hot top plant out in Drake, Brox, being routed up First Street Boulevard and up into Christian Hill, where you don't really, commercial vehicles aren't really, greeted with welcome arms with kids waiting for school buses and stuff, carrying X amount of ton of hot tops. So any kind of information, first and foremost, we can get out to the community with instances like this, as well as look into what are those guidelines that protect the neighborhoods from redirection of traffic, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Councilor Getchia. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, I was stuck on that myself. The DOT project, that's 110, and that interfered with traffic all throughout. It was crazy how it interfered, with traffic all the way over through Belvedere, into Belvedere, into the downtown. So Mr. Machado's going to be reaching out to DOT, but as most of the councilors know, we try to update our Facebook page, our Instagram account, our X account, and everything else. But we will work with DOT a little bit clearer to make sure that they try to, it's just amazing that one lane of traffic that was closed down, what it caused, all the way even into Pawtucketville. So we hear you loud and clear. I was a recipient of it in the evening, so I got it as well. But we'll continue to hit our social media platform and try to see if DOT can work a little bit closer with us. Mr. Machado will be on that email. So.
And can you please, if at all possible, find out whether or not there is that rule, 9 a.m. start for large-scale construction projects like that on main roads? Thank you.
We'll find that out.
Speak now, Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, when you look at Chelmsford Street, we should have signage up because of the length of the time of the period. It should say, seek alternative routes. We're going to be doing work from this date to this date, because Chelmsford Street's a complete mess, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to construction like a lot of us do in here, so they just get stuck in this whole web of traffic when they could have sought alternative routes. Same thing, I thank your office for getting right back to me when we looked at, Mammoth Road, when I called about that road closure. They closed a major road, another community did, came right across the border, closed the road, and see you later to the businesses that were there, and it was very unfair. And they say it's not the first time, and it's just hard to believe that another community can come into our community, close off a road, never to call the fire department. The police department were made aware of it late, and it just, to me, it's not good relations between each other when a person's in business a small business, and every day means a lot to their survival over there on Mammoth Road. And I'm just at the same point as yourself and Councilor Robinson saying, what is the notification process? And if we're going to work on main roads for a long period of time, can we put up billboard signs saying, under construction from this date to this date, from this time to this time, seek alternative routes? I just think that's the professional way to do it in communities, especially when they're heavily traveled main roads. Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Mr. Machado was actually in contact with the town of Dracut and asked them to reach out to us, and there was somewhat of an apology that was brought forward that they should have thought about reaching out to us to let us know, especially on the public safety side. So we'll, I think the lines of communication were open, especially when we started talking about public safety.
Did you tell them it's 2025? And you have to like talk from community to community? We do have fire protection and businesses.
Try to keep everybody counselor on a,
No, I understand, but in 2025, I would hope that they understand that, when they're pre-planning road paving projects, they should call the other community if you're going to cross over. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 545, Council Robinson, request city manager convene an in-depth discussion with the council on pros and cons of acquiring the Superior Courthouse. Seconded by Council Yam. Council Robinson.
Mr. Mayor, can I bundle that with 5.11, if that's okay with Councilor Belanger, please?
Yes.
5.11, Council Belanger, request city council discuss acquisition and set vision for the Lowell District of Superior Courthouses. Seconded by Council Robinson.
As well as motion response C.
Motion response C. Superior Courthouse with attachment as well. Go ahead.
Thank you. Again, I know we've had conversations multiple times, and I see the governor did convene a group meeting inviting developers with, I believe it's 17 parcels that they're trying to get rid of. DCAM has surplus that is state-owned, with 2 of those being in Lowell, between District and Superior Courthouse. I know it's a massive property. It's not really set up for housing, so to say, with just the build of it. It's no ADA compliance, everything's uneven. The materials used in there don't lend itself to an easy renovation or repurposing. I'm not going to sit here and sell a dream and act like it's an easy project by any means. I'm not here to convince anyone that there's no risk involved. But I am asking to consider what this is kind of about control. I think we just saw the Lowell Forward Master Plan where they're hinting at some of the things coming down the pipeline from the state, whether it's more low-income housing, especially in that area of Superior Courthouse, where diagonally across the street, we already have low public housing. I think Back Central has been at the podium and at subcommittees speaking about the burden they have from dealing with the social service component and the vagrancy component that runs rampant in their neck of the woods. And this is right there. This is a 5-minute walk from my MBTA commuter rail zone. It's at the end of the Lowell connector, which is highly accessible. I think this is really a question of taking control over an opportunity that's presented itself to us. It's risky, it's intimidating, it's going to require confidence. The alternative is comfortable, easy, doesn't require much. We can sit back and allow pretty much the state to tell us what's going to happen in our backyard, and they're going to tell us what our identity is going to continue to be. I think we've seen a couple different acronyms get thrown at us that kind of tell us our identity so far, and these are state things, whether it's ADU, whether it's the ICC, whether it's the MBTA. These are all acronyms that the state has decided for us. Fortunately, not all of them have been burdens or negative impacts, but we've been told that's what was happening in our backyard. By not taking control and ownership of this opportunity, again, we have no control over what that could be. The state puts it out to bid, it comes back that it's not suitable for housing as we would like to see it. We don't know what that then becomes. Could it become, again, a second shelter in our community that's twice as big as the one we currently have? And that would allow, as we've seen in the past, as other communities would love to say, Lowell to do more. I think if we don't take control of this property, and I'm not saying to develop it, I think, and maybe the manager can tell me better, if we were to say we wanted to take control of this property where it's already been winterized, All we'd be responsible for would be to keep it secure and carve out a RFP and let us decide and look for interest of potential developers with the parameters that we're comfortable with, instead of allowing someone else to carve out the parameters of what checks their boxes. Because without any of that control over what this excess parcel becomes, we all could be in trouble. And I think, you know, how many times can we be told that, oh, the state's gonna do this because this is what they need to do? We have that opportunity to say, for a change, this is our identity, and we're looking to do this because this is what Lowell is gonna do. So, I mean, I think it's definitely worth consideration, and I know, yes, it is a big challenge, it is scary, and it is a lot involved in it and risky. But the risk, on the other hand, is if we end up with something that none of us wanted, it's too late at that point.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council is on 7-7. We have a land disposition agreement that we're putting together for Hurd Street, as most of you know, and this has been a long time in the making. We had Secretary Augustus up here to discuss Hurd, and I'm going to get to Superior Court, but I believe that the Commonwealth knows exactly what we're looking for. This council has been pushing for market rate home ownership as well as workforce housing, which we have. My concern, Councilor, with this particular one is it's very large and it's very awkward to deal with. This would be an extreme challenge. I think we're talking about tens of millions of dollars to try to rehab this. My concern is keeping it in our portfolio. The portfolio on Hurd Street is something at least manageable. But it's important to note that even if DCAM were to sell this to a private entity, they would have to still come to the planning board, historic board, et cetera. You can guarantee that we would be pushing against that from this perspective, from the administration's perspective, if it was something that was not, if it was not desirable to the council. But in speaking with our partners in the state, you know, we need to continue to push market rate, what I think is a niche that we could really fill, affordable home ownership, and workforce housing. I think we do some of the best workforce housing that's been in the area. I am very concerned with taking control of Superior Court, only because it had been in it a number of times throughout the years, and it's a big building. It's been, I think that this is going to be sticking around with us for a little while. Once again, when we talk about 7.7 later on, we're going to be talking about we're in partnership with the state to move forward. And I think it was $3.9 million, which they came up on a dollar figure that it would be sold for. Just for edification, of that $3.9 million, if we were to sell it sooner rather than later, we'd get a larger cut from that $3.9 million, which is nice. And it also gives us an ability to potentially help with, say, affordable home ownership or anything like that in that area. This could be an idea. The problem that I have, and we've looked at this, and I've talked to the Secretary about it, Commissioner Bakey, who actually was our planning and development. He has concerns with it, but he represents the state at this time. He just happens to be a Lowellian living here. It's just such a big project. They will not, and Councilor Scott and I have talked about this, there are a couple of pieces of land over there to try to maybe assist with parking in that area. The state's not in the position at this time to say, no, we're going to sell these off to the city. Quite frankly, I think Superior Court right now, and I think everybody here knows my real estate thought or prowess on this. I would like to buy almost everything here. The CFO doesn't like to hear that all the time. But this one concerns me. It's larger than what we've dealt with. I can appreciate Councilor Robinson's thoughts. He's had a lot of great ideas. But if people were to come forward that wanted to do something there, there's a willing ear. There's someone listening. I think we have a lot of things going on with the front runner city that we could still work with the Commonwealth or DCAM per se. I just don't see somebody purchasing this I could be wrong, in saying that they're going to run roughshod over the city. I don't see that happening, because I think that the relationship that we have with DCAM, the relationship that we have with the state, we could throw up a flag on that. I think it's going to take tens of millions of dollars, and I'm no developer to try to bring that back into something that needs to be done. Now, could it ever come to fruition? Quite frankly, my concern is other historic buildings that we have in the city that have been proven to be a problem for us. Once again, Councilor, I appreciate the excitement. I appreciate the discussions. I appreciate what we talked about. I love trying to get to yes on this. On Superior Court at this time, I don't think we should take this on. I think that it's District Court, as well as the other things in that Hurd Street area. I think there's a lot of excitement going in that area. I think this is something, and I do think we have the ear of the Secretary as well as the Commissioner from the city, that I want to be clear. He works for the state. He has to look out for the state's interests. But this is such a big project, I'm extremely concerned with what we could do with it. Does that mean if someone came to me tomorrow, by any of the councilors, if they had an idea that they wanted to aggressively pursue with the Commonwealth, I'm all ears. And Giovanni and I, the Assistant City Manager and I, we were in Boston at this meeting of 17 developers. We had a lot of discussions, a lot of great discussions. Lowell is getting to be known as a place to do business, and I hope one of those people starts shaking our tree and saying, how can we help get them in there to move forward on food courts or not necessarily affordable, but any type of property that is going to increase value in and around that area. But that one to me is just a real challenge, Councilor, and I love the enthusiasm. I just don't know how to get through it, given the fact that the information I believe I have is tens of millions of dollars to even get it to work. And with the historical ramifications on that building, I don't know where that money is from the federal government, from the state government, and my fear is we'd be holding it for an awful long time.
So my only question is, if, as you said, even with all the great relationships and everything else, it's state property. If the state has a social service provider that comes knocking on their door and says, we have the means to repurpose this into social services, ultimately at that point, zoning and planning is limited. We have no say over the social service component if that's what ends up happening in that building due to the magnitude of work required. Whereas if we had control, we carve the RFP out and see who starts to come shaking the door. And if no one does at that point, maybe we consider putting a hard end time, 6 months max. RFP's carved out, it goes out at the end of 6 months, we're auctioning that thing off. Either way, if we don't have any credible sources coming forward, and at least we gave it a shot, but at least we're not at the mercy of the state putting it out, they don't get the housing developers knocking on the door, and it ends up being a social service super center of the Merrimack Valley, and then we're dead in the water, all of us. And we can all sit back and say woulda, coulda, shoulda at that point. But I think, isn't it worth at least taking that risk, taking the control of that building, focusing on keeping that building secure for whatever period is agreeable and amendable by everyone, and saying, let's give it a shot, even though we're nervous like heck about this. But it does offer some protections to our residents, to our neighborhood, as well as to the city, because now, if we do the positive end of it, if someone does come knocking, now that leads at least a good conversation, and we still have a little bit of guidance that we can help along with that project.
Mr. Manager? Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Councilor, I can't, once again, I cannot disagree with where you're going. Normally I would want to have control of any site that we're considering. But the problem I have is any nonprofit, in my opinion, now, one of us could win megabucks tomorrow, right? And buy it, and it would be a wonderful thing for whatever the process may be. But any nonprofit that we're typically dealing with is coming to us saying, we need your help. Can we have money? And they're going to be going to the state for that same situation. Now, I'm not saying every nonprofit, but the vast majority of nonprofits could be doing this. They'd be looking for money from the state and from the city here. And I think that would cause some pause. going through the process by which I think DCAM is looking to do, I kind of really question if they're going to get anyone to bid on it, given the fact of the challenges. And I don't know, I agree with what you're saying, 100%. I can't say I don't, but spreading our resources that much thinner on something that I just don't believe is, there's a project there that can actually fit in that building. This is just, once again, I'll stand here right now or sit here and tell you all I could be wrong on this, but I don't see how anyone is going to go in from a profit mechanism and say, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to put 100 units there to make that work. The building is just awkward. We're going to try to get down to Worcester, because I know it took Worcester quite some time. The secretary was telling me about it, to try to reimagine theirs. We do need a Zach Bryan, right, to look at this. Remember, he's only in the process of purchasing it. That doesn't mean that tens of millions of dollars is going to, and I don't know that to be true. I don't know the tens of millions of dollars. For all I know, it's going to be thousands of dollars, but I don't think so. So that's what my concern is. The wish of the council, I'll do whatever is necessary. I think we've looked at this. I think we've kind of exhausted a lot of this, and I don't know who would buy it. I don't know what you would possibly put in it, given the high vault and the high vault of all the ceilings and the historical challenges of that. And I just don't want it to be another albatross for us in the future. And once again, Councilor, in leaving, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not sure how we can get there.
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager. I was in attendance as well last Monday in Boston at the State House, and it was great to see you and members of your administration at that. We were all curious. And you and your staff worked the room, consulted with a lot of developers, and no big fish on that day, but nonetheless, it's not over yet. And obviously, you've shown to me in this council that your administration means business on these two properties. They're very, very vital to our development and our vision, what we want to do here in the city. So let's start with the Lowell District Court. Seems to be fast-tracked. What is the story with that going out to RFP with the vision, the said vision that you mentioned earlier, first-time home ownership, workforce housing, to create a nice vibrant atmosphere in our downtown? So how are we doing on that RFP? How soon can we expect that out in the public?
Thank you very much, Ms. Rose.
Yes, thank you. So the RFP is in almost final form. It is currently being reviewed by DCAM. We have a couple sort of questions related to the matrix for ranking how we're going to score the RFP itself that are in front of purchasing. But that RFP is essentially ready to go, and our intention is to have the property out, have the RFP out, assuming that you all vote tonight on that, to have the RFP out this summer. So sometime in July is our hope. And then usually, and so DCAM asked us if we would consider having a 3-month response period in order to try to allow project teams enough time to pull together strong development proposals. So we anticipate if it goes out in July, let's say early July, then respondents will have 3 months to get back to us, and then we'll be able to score the responses and determine who's going to be the developer there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really moving forward in a fast clip. That's a great job to all of you. Now, Mr. Manager, you alluded to you're not so favorable on the Superior Courthouse. I understand what you're talking about. I've spoken to some premier developers here in the city that's done a lot of projects, and there was one common denominator. I'm probably not going to touch this. I probably wouldn't touch this building, meaning the Superior Court. So I concur with you in the challenges here with converting this to residential housing. But, Councilor Robinson has a good concern, as I'm sure we all do on this council, and that is to the future of that building. It is a very vital piece of our city, right there in a very busy corner. And what happens to it to see us lose control at the same time is concerning. But I can't see taking a vote to take possession unless we get a solid exit strategy to get out if things do not work out. So you're confident that you don't think we'll get developers of any type, Mr. Manager, which, you know, I know you kind of already went through it, but I don't know what, you know, your final thought is there, but you would totally, do 100% eliminate housing? Is that in your estimation?
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. I wouldn't eliminate anything, but I think right now, with the interest rates that we're dealing with, I think that the number one way we could kind of move forward is through the front runner city. There is a lot of activity going on in front runner city, as everybody knows. Most of the councilors have weighed in, and this is actually, once again, it's awkward for me to say, no, let's not take this, because my experience tells me that you always take land. You always take something to make sure that you have control of it. And this matter, this particular matter today, as of today, that doesn't mean we're going to stop talking about this. This doesn't mean that I won't be working on this. I just, you know, we're dealing right now with 7.7 Hurd Street. I think we have a viable way to move forward. As the Assistant City Manager, Assistant City Manager Rose had stated, this one just really concerns me and does scare me. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop paying attention to it and trying to find out what can happen. The council will know relatively soon. The mayor has been working with the folks from Front Runner City that they will be here soon. We're just getting finalized dates and times, which that's an opportunity. So, Councilor Robinson, I know you know this. I'm just really I'm having a hard time saying we should take this right now because of those challenges. Just walking in, it's a grand building, but it's, you know, it requires us to do something. And previously, when I spoke to the previous commissioner from DCAM, I made a quip about, well, we'll take this for, you know, another $10 million, and she said, only 10? And it was kind of her way of, you know, saying this is really going to take a real effort. Down in Worcester, I know they spent over $35 million on that, and you know, maybe we can work towards that. And it was a housing piece. So I feel your concern. I really truly do, councilors. I know, and Councilor Scott, I understand what she's been talking about, parking in that area. This is a real concern for me. On what happens to this. I just don't want to get an albatross. And that's how I look at this right now. And I hope in the next 2 weeks, 2 months, we come up with a different idea that I can come to this council and say, I think this is what we should do. We should actually actively pursue this with the state. If anybody had any ideas, Councilor Belanger had mentioned, you know, one of the pieces. There's a lot of local folks that we've talked to that have done projects this size, and this one, it's just an awkward sized building. It's an awkward shaped building.
Go ahead, Councilor
Would you feel better if the council looked to put, like I said, a short, infinite timeline on this, where it's like, for 6 months we're in control of this property. It gives you the wiggle room to go out and field any interest, and it's 6 months, it's gone if there's no interest at that point. And again, I go back to everything from as small as a sober house on up to large scale social service centers. I would just hate to see, again, the state turn around and say we're not getting the appetite from large scale developers the way we thought we would for whatever their agenda might be on this. And so it goes out and it comes down the pipeline that we're stuck with something. I mean, I fully feel the concern with this. And I also have to step back and look at some of the squandered opportunities that we can sit back and say, woulda, shoulda, coulda. St. Louis in our district is one that thing keeps me up at night. I mean, that was something that made too much sense, and it's just timing and everything else didn't work in our favor. I don't want to be here in a couple years down the line saying, I can't believe this is really what the vision from the state, because of A, B, or C, and now we're stuck with something that none of us have any input on.
I get it. So all we want to do, I just want to take a vote on this or not, but I'm very happy with the district court. I think that's a move in the right direction. I think the Superior Courthouse is the Smith Baker Center on steroids. That's what I think we're looking at. We'll be here, you guys will be here in 20 years. Council Mercy will be here in 20 years, talking about what we're going to do with the Superior Courthouse. So, I would pass on any acquisition of the Superior Courthouse. I think if we pass on it, I just confirm with the Assistant City Manager, it goes out to public bid anyway. So if a developer is interested, they can go in there and take care of it and leave us out of it. So that's just I don't know what we want to do about it. You want to come back in 2 weeks and one last ditch effort, Mr. Manager, if anybody reaches out to you, go from there. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, through the council, I can reach out to Mr. Bakey again and, play a strong, well, I don't know if there's a stronger role because you couldn't have a better partner with this. I'm just not interested in taking this thing over just because of the problems I've already stated. So if it's okay with the council, if you want to give me another 2 weeks to 4 weeks, I'll work with Mr. Bakey, try to find out how we can further participate, Ms. Rose, and make sure that we are at the table, which I know we were going to be anyhow. But it's very awkward for me to say that I don't want to buy this thing. It just, or even, it's just what I see in this is a real issue for us in the future. So if it pleases the council and if this is what would be okay, we can do it I'd like to give myself 4 weeks to really dive in, talk to these folks and find out how DCAM can further assist us. And I want to be clear, if anyone from DCAM is listening, they have been very, very helpful. They've been great. So if that pleases the council, I'll have a report back or
5.6 and 5.11, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.6, Council Robinson, request city manager of the property department correct broken berm at 98 19th Street, as well as repair washout with loom and seed. Second by Councilor Getchia. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. This is something that I did file something, I think 2 years ago about this. And what happened was plow damage during the winter. As a result, there's a washout. I believe Commissioner St. Cyr came and visited this property quite some time ago, and he was talking about maybe putting some gravel at Trap Rock, but that's not what the resident wants. What happened is when the berm got broken by the plow, probably a contractor that does that with the 1 ton, the water washed out the loom and everything now, and it kind of ruined that area. And so correct the berm and just restore what was there previous. That's all the resident is looking for. Any help is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.7, Councilors Noonan and Janess, request city manager provide an updated plan to widen the sidewalk on Pawtucket Boulevard from the Hunts Falls Bridge to the Sampras Pavilion. No second needed. Who wants it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we, Councilor Janess and I went to a Pawtucketville neighborhood meeting. A resident said that, a few years ago, I think, they're talking about widening the sidewalk there. So I said, okay, maybe I can ask the managers in the department to see if there's any update on that. That's all it is to it. Thank you.
Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick correction, if it's okay with Councilor Noon. It's the Mammoth Road School Street Bridge, not Hunts Falls.
Yeah, it was quite the hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.8, Councilor Mercia, request city manager have the proper department cut branches resting on power lines in front of 286 Burnham Road, or contact proper utility company to do the same. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know I could say the motion speaks for itself, but let me tell you how I got here. So I'm puttering around in my yard, and the lady down the street comes up walking her dog and tells me to come down the street and look at this tree. I did, and she was absolutely right. It wasn't in front of her house, but when the LRTA bus goes by, the branch is actually on top of the bus, and it's hanging on top of a power line. And I notice I didn't just say to have the city, the proper department alone, because I think it's very dangerous. I think where it's a utility line, I think that we need the utility company to rectify that. But let me just say this. I'm very concerned about this because I was on the radio this morning and the host said, "Oh, you have two motions," and he mentioned this particular motion, and a texter texted in and said, "Good luck with that." I had a similar request to have the utility come and take the limb off the power line, and it took 5 years. I don't want to wait 5 years, please. So if you want to give me a phone number, I will do some nagging. So if you can't do that, I'll help you. I'm good at that, okay? Thank you so much.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 6, communications.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before we start the communication motion response, but I ask to take item 8.1 out of order. We have a representative here to answer the questions that may be.
8.1 by Councilor Chow, second by
Second.
Councilor Belanger. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 8.1, subcommittee reports, environmental and flood issues. Subcommittee, June 3rd, 2025. Chairman Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the Environmental and Flood Subcommittee had a subcommittee meeting on June 3rd at 5:30 p.m. It was attended by myself, subcommittee members, Councilors Robinson and Councilors Rathayim. It was also attended by Councilors Mercia, Councilor Scott, Councilor Gitchia, as well as Deputy Fire Chief Crabtree and Sustainability Director Catherine Moses, as well as various officials from the Markley Group and their attorney, Bill Martin, who was here tonight. Markley Group is requesting to install 4 diesel tanks to outfit their backup generators at their facility on their property. Now, Markley is a data storage company that that might be referred to cloud storage that services national companies as well as local businesses, such commercial businesses such as Microsoft, hospitals, universities, and government. I think the Commonwealth of Mass is also a client of theirs as well. So we opened it up to Attorney Martin, who provided a description of the project and the corporate background. Attorney Martin noted the current need to increase the amount of emergency generators and noted that they all comply with state and federal regulations. Attorney Martin noted that the machines only run 5 minutes per week, which is a state mandate mandatory testing that they must comply with. Deputy Chief Crabtree noted that the fire department has signed off on the request for safety purposes, and there was questions on the emissions, and Ms. Moses noticed that the project was in compliance with the Department of Environmental Protection regulations and note used regularly. Ms. Moses noted long-term planning with this site should involve discussions with the City of Lowell, and that was also achieved on that day, as representatives from the Markley Group have agreed to sit down with Sustainability Director to discuss long-term sustainability goals with emissions, noise reduction, someone. They were very open to that, and that was a nice step of forward progress that we made. Mr. Fernandez knows that they are agreeable to discussion regarding the best environmental use. Councilors Robinson commented on the type of tanks on the site, and a representative from Markley Group noted that the tanks are in steel tanks, as well as outfitted with a coating that makes it protected against lightning, which was brought up by some abutters. Each tank is used individually and comply with every applicable regulation, state and federal. Councilor Scott noted that the petitioner needs to comply with city master plan regarding carbon footprint and the many concerns of the neighbors as for the site for a soft target. Councilor Robinson commented on concern for future plans. Mr. Fernandez outlined the reasoning for the choice of the diesel fuel, as Councilor Mercia questioned the number of noise level of the generators. Now, we also had neighborhood input as well as to the generators and the noise levels, and I just been informed today by Attorney Martin, who is here, that there is a site visit planned on the site at the Markley Group next Wednesday at 6 p.m. The city councilors are invited, as well as the abutters that might be close to this project and have concerns. So we thank the Markley Group for that we're able to get to the property. They will turn the generators on. We will see the noise levels and the storage tanks and get a good hands-on look. And it's often behind fences, and you can't see all that much. Now, abutters also brought up a great point that there is currently 20 some odd generators on the site as it is, and only a little over a handful are permitted, and that is true. The Markley Group is entering a phased approach as the generators, although they are there, they're not in operation, and this is a phased approach as the technology is in demand. They will expand and come back to this council for an additional diesel tanks to supply those generators in a phased approach. So again, so we heard from the abutters as well as the councilors. Many of the concerns were addressed. I think the site visit will be a tell-all, give a lot of information, as well as a meeting with the sustainability director, and was recorded as a motion for report of progress, Mr. Mayor. And with that, in conclusion, I will make the motion to refer to a public hearing. Thank you very much.
That'll be on June 24th, 2025 at 7 p.m. by Council Janess, second by Council Dakota.
Mr. Mayor?
Any questions or comments? Council Scott?
I just want to comment on it. It has been done in a phased approach, but they keep coming back 4, 8, 12, 15, 19. Now there's 8 more in front of Mass DEP right now. They purchased most of the homes at this point in time on Prince Avenue, a couple on Iowa Street. So the concern for the neighbors obviously is that it just keeps going and going and going. I do have a question. I am not voting for this. The neighbors do not want it to continue to expand. But I do have a question for the solicitor as far as the fuel permit goes. Are we able to restrict the amount of time that they can have the permit for, make restrictions that they have to meet with our sustainability director to review their sustainability goals or whatever?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, in reviewing the statute, there is certainly language that the appointing authority, which would be the city council in this instance, can sort of set the period of time in which the license would be for. I don't know, it's a year, I think, typically. Mr. Clerk, are these permits typically a year?
No, once it's
Or is it just?
It's permitted for an extended more fuel, and then that's good until they want to get more fuel and they can do another
Gotcha.
come in. The license is there, this is just the permit to make additional fuel storage.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, the statute would allow for the appointing authority to set time periods if they needed to, and it also has language in there about certain restrictions that would need to be followed by the licensee, and that would be within the purview of the city council.
Okay. So I'm sorry? Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apparently Monday, folks from Markley met with Catherine Moses, and they're planning on meeting regularly with her moving forward.
Okay, but I would want it to be a condition of the permit, that it's required. Even though, like I said, I'm not voting for it, but I would suggest that it is included if my peers agree with that. I also, like I said, I think there needs to be some transparency too with the neighbors as far as what the end goal, like what are the plans here? How big is this going to get? They never feel like there's honest communication that's been happening. I do commend Attorney Martin. I think he's done a much better job of communicating with the neighbors and getting information out. But it's just an ongoing concern. And like I said, I would like my peers not to approve it. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. Moving on, section 6, back to motion responses A. 1190 Pawtucket Boulevard. Council Newman, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Assistant City Manager Giovanni Roses and Francisca, for the report. It's a great step forward for potential development on this lot. I know that the report indicated that they going to a planning board for some zoning change. And from afar tonight, I urge, I know the planning board probably have their day of meeting. I urge that planning board to vote in favor of this special permit so that we can get this project is going forward because this is going to be something that's good for the city in terms of, making this area to be usable and taxable for the city going forward. Thank you.
Motion response B, quality training facility, Council Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to thank all the hard work from DPD officials to make this project happen. So we got a $5 million training facility coming within Cawley Stadium that will help alleviate and we can use the dilapidated and Cawley Stadium less and convert over to this training facility that will include restrooms, locker rooms, private office space, coaches and trainers room, a concession stand, and a film and a large community room as well that can be used for neighborhood group meetings, whatever it may be. So very exciting stuff to see. I know a lot of the architecture work was donated, so that was greatly appreciated. And looking forward to this project. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Motion response D, skating rink, Council Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Baez-Rose. Thank you, Ms. Wilson and Sarah Brown. I have to say, this is an amazing response. I think it seems simple, looking to explore opportunities to create a skating rink. I love the way you broke down all the options, compared it with what other communities are doing, and included some pricing. And so I guess, it is costly. Just to bring in a consultant is very costly. I think this might be something we have to kind of put on the side burner until a funding stream can be identified. I'd love to see at least getting a realistic study with cost estimates and doing some, or do you think, through you to maybe DPD, do you think it would make sense to at least engage in a community process first to see, out of the options you listed, is that something worth pursuing to the next step where there is a significant cost tied to maybe a consultant?
Yes, absolutely, Councillor. So as I think you may have heard already, we're kicking off our open space and recreation planning process, which will essentially help us determine our goals for open space and recreation resources that we have in the city for the next 10 years. And so we're going to be doing quite a lot of community outreach for that process. And I think this is like a great example of a question that we could bring to people. Which version of this do you like? Where do you think something like this, you would use? And so a part of what we do with the open space plan is to try to get from people a better understanding about the places that they're already using and what are they doing there, and then try to get a better sense of what they might want to see in addition to. So I absolutely think that this is a question that we could ask people, and then at the end of that would have a better understanding as to, if it's going to cost a lot of money, whether or not it is something that people felt strongly enough that we should, find the funds to try to make something like this work, versus, if there ends up not being a ton of community support, then maybe we don't go with the more expensive version.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, if we could field some of the public thoughts on the different options that you laid out here, would be great. Thank you very much again.
Councilor Ness and Councilor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks to my colleague for bringing this forward, and thanks for the staff for their hard work and on the response. One thing I did want to mention is I know that the university they continue to desire to find a way to add a second sheet of ice over at the Tsongas Arena as part of their growth and expansion plans. And I don't know if that might dovetail nicely with trying to accomplish something like this. So I would just encourage a little outreach there to have that discussion with the university to understand where that project is and if that might be a realistic possibility to try and increase community access to ice skating. Just a thought. Thank you.
Councilor Yam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Ms. By-Rose. This parcel consists of two additional parcel. Do you know it will be together? Because I don't want to see somebody, or maybe split up, the land and the courthouse. So this would be together as a package, right, Miss?
I'm sorry, Counselor, I don't know if, I don't know what you're asking.
You all set, Councilor Yam? What's your response? E, developer communication, Councilor Robinson?
Thank you very much. Again, thank you for the motion response. This came about, I mean, and again, this is an instance where I believe truly the city has been making great strides in communication. A lot of this came from pretty much the Apple Orchard project in Centerville. And maybe that's a unique situation because it was I forget what the acronym, it's like no approval required or something type of project. So as a result, I think they didn't have to come before the land use boards. And so like the neighbors woke up one morning and work was being done. And in instances like that, if there's anything we can do to at least give neighbors a heads up that, hey, this kind of project is not subject to the, typical process. So when they commence work, it's kind of up to the developer that owns his property. But at least I think any open line of communication we can do on projects similar in the future, I think would help alleviate some of the angst and stress, because I can only imagine, your view every day changes in the blink of an eye without any warning. Thank you.
What's your response? F, Riley Playground, Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was one of the highlights at my town hall last Saturday, and let me tell you, my constituents are very much looking forward to this playground at the Riley School. It's a $1 million ARPA expenditure that was well received, and we look forward to usage in the fall. Thank you very much, and to all those DPD officials who worked very hard on this. Thank you.
Thank you. 6.2, information report, GAP 3 grant, Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, councilors. I have Ms. Moses here tonight to talk about the GAP 3 grant, if anybody has any questions or concerns about it. Overall, it is an opportunity that Ms. Moses, once again, through sustainability, had the ability to bring some money forward to actually, at the end of the day, save us some money. So, Ms. Moses, I'm sure that if anybody has any questions, she'd be ready, willing, and able to answer them.
Who also celebrated her 50th birthday a couple days ago, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, we don't talk about that. She celebrated a birthday that was in the decades. That's all we want to talk about, Ms. Moses. And she.
Mr. Machado is 50. He looks 20 years older than she does. So, right, yeah.
Well, that's actually true.
Very kind.
But, Mr. Mayor, once again, so happy birthday to Ms. Moses, who has done a fabulous job at sustainability. But does the council have any questions for Ms. Moses in regards to this?
Councilor Chair.
I just want to say through you, Mr. Mayor, another great job by the Sustainability Department. Since you've gotten that department together, and we see the grants and how much we're getting back just to do these and find these issues, it's amazing the movement that we're seeing and the things you have done. So I just want to congratulate you and thank you again for all the hard work you and your department have done to save us a lot of heartache in our budget area when you're breaking down the budget for us and saving all this fund. So thank you again for the hard work, and please pass that on to your staff.
The motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Jeanette, second by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.3, resignations of members of various boards and commissions.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Could I suspend the rules and bundle 6.3 to 6.5?
Yes, but I got to do the resignations first, then we'll do the other two next. Yeah.
Sure.
Communication and acknowledging receipt of resignation of two members of various boards and commissions. The following members' resignations are accepted: Jacqueline Coles, Veterans Commission, and Lloyd DeJesus, Commission on Disability. I motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Yem. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.4, appointment of William Lefebvre to the Lowell Sustainability Council. And 6.5, a communication, we'll do 6.4 first. Appointment of William Lefebvre to the Lowell Sustainability Council. Motion to adopt by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Getchia. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes. Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon. Council Robinson. Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes, Mayor Rourke. Mayor Rourke.
Call me. You can call me. You can call me.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes. 6.5, communications. City manager requests approval of out-of-state travel for 2 for the library and 1 for DPD. Motion to adopt by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Yem. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon. Council Robinson. Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we could, if I could suspend the rules to allow a bundle of 7.1 to 7.17.
Second by Councilor Dakota to do 7.1.
Just exclude 7.5 and 7.7, which we already voted on, please.
Sure, we realize that.
7.5.
7.5.
We did. Did we already do 7.7? We didn't vote on it officially.
No, 7.5.
Yeah. All right. And on 7.16, I cannot vote on it, so I don't know if you want to take that one first, then do those, bundle the rest of them together.
Sure.
All right. 7.16. Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the council. Councilors, it's come to our attention that there are a few folks that cannot vote on this. So to amend this particular piece on 7.16, the supplemental appropriation, I would like to request that we move the $2 million into the manager's contingency fund. Due to the fact that, once again, there are some people that have a conflict, that would be my suggestion, and the will of the council would prevail.
Mr. Mayor, I will have to recuse myself.
So is there a motion to adopt the manager's suggestion by Councilor Scott, second, and Councilor Getchia? Do you want to speak? Go ahead, Councilor Scott.
So just a quick question on it. I did ask when we took the vote to have the superintendent of schools come to discuss the additional money and what he was going to do, what he was going to restore with those funds. I had specific questions around the paraprofessional positions that are listed because I don't completely understand the math in it. I'm sorry, you were going to say something? So I didn't, moving it to the contingency fund, does that still allow that to happen, that discussion to happen? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. Would we be able to at least possibly defer this vote until maybe the next week and reach out to the superintendent to see if he can come to answer the questions?
Yeah, so the vote on the floor now was to put it into the contingency, then we would have to vote to send it into any account we want.
Oh, so the money will be held until,
Right.
and that would be a condition that he would answer the concerns as far as, because I think a lot of it is the money that they were requesting, that we're giving over, does that preserve any of the initial batch of positions that was slated to be cut as a result of this money?
Mr. Manager?
Councilors, once again, the reason for this and the reason the request is there is that there are a number of councilors right now that shouldn't vote on this particular matter because of a conflict. And I believe we have 4 people that have a conflict with this. By moving it into the manager's contingency fund at a later date, we can then move it from the manager's contingency fund into the school department. And the purpose of taking it out of the rainy day account or the savings account, we would need 8 votes for that. 2/3. I apologize. You're correct. CFO knows that, but we need 2/3. So we wouldn't be able to achieve that at this point in time with the conflicts that we have before us. If that makes any, if that doesn't make any sense, I mean, maybe is everyone okay with that?
No, thank you for that clarification.
What about the rule of necessity? Doesn't that kick in on this?
At this,
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, at this time, thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. At this time, it's a recommendation that we go in this direction. Rule of necessity, we'd have to be talking to the Attorney General's office, I believe, and that, sorry, Mr. Solicitor, if you want to answer that, the rule of necessity.
Solicitor, good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so the rule of necessity is specifically to be used when there is a legal requirement to take an action. And the state, actually the Ethics Commission, they posted an advisory on this, I think in like 2005. And it goes into detail as to what would and wouldn't allow you to use rule of necessity. And whenever discretion is involved in any way, i.e. a counselor is using, yes or no, it's my choice, my opinion, and you're not forced to do something, then you can't use the rule of necessity. Whereas if something had to absolutely be done, you can overlook the conflict because you have no choice but to make the vote. So the rule of necessity would not apply here.
The school committee,
So, do I just, someone want to speak on it?
no,
Okay.
no, I'd rather not.
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk. Yeah, please.
Procedurally, we'll have to do a motion to amend this vote to transfer to the mortgage, the manager's contingency fund. Roll call on that amendment. Once that, if the amendment is approved, we'll vote on it as amended. So there'll be 2 roll calls.
Commissioner Solicitor, we can all vote on that one? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Right, for FY '26 as well.
Making that motion.
Yeah, second by Councilor Getchia.
Already done.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk. By Councilor Janessa, second by Councilor Getchia.
This is on the motion to amend.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
6 points.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Already recused myself.
Recused, okay. Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon.
He recused himself.
Recused. Let me know. Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Recuse myself.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas. Okay.
Now do it again.
So for clarification,
Yeah, the
this
motion-
next roll call will be a vote for what?
To put the 2 million into contingency.
So everyone is eligible to vote on this portion of it?
Right.
Okay.
Motion. Motion, who's second?
By Councilor Robinson, second by Councilor Mercia.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
No.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes.
11 yeas.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Yes.
since recusing ourselves is all the rage, I'm going to be recusing myself on 7-1.
7-1, you got it. So quickly, 7-1, for vote 246.1 Market Street CPC funding recommendation by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Robinson.
Mr. Mayor,
Question?
is there a way, is there already a motion to bundle all the
Yes,
votes?
but we have one
Okay.
more.
Let her read it.
After this, we'll do a roll.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call. It was done by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Janessa recused himself.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow. Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess. Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
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 Counsel Yam.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll quickly read the remaining votes so we can take a roll call. 7.2, vote for 32 Bridge Street, CPC funding. 7.3, vote for 484 Merrimack Street, CPC funding. 7.4, 573 to 579 Lawrence Street for CPC funding. 7.6, authorize city manager to execute an easement with S&R Corporation. 7.7, authorize city manager execute a land disposition agreement with DCAM. 7.8, authorize city manager execute a lease with Mill City Grows, 72-1 Fowler Road. 7.9, vote East End Club CPC funding recommendation. 7.10, vote for Mass Mills 4 CPC recommendation. 7.11, St. Anne's Church CPC recommendation funding. 7.12, vote for Suffolk Place CPC funding recommendation. And 7.13, a vote to transfer $1,108,000 to Medicare. 7.14, a vote to transfer $1,544,000 for salaries. 7.15, transfer $170,000 for LifeLock. And 7.17, a vote for Wildlands at Mills CPC funding recommendation. A motion to adopt all by Councilor Yam, seconded by Councilor Getchia. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Young.
Yes.
11 yeas.
9.2, section 9.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sorry, section 8. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Mercer.
could I just ask the question about the temporary easement? Is the traffic sign signal easement due to the closure of the bridge that's will be under construction for 2 years on Gorham Street in East Chelmsford? Is that the one? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Section 8, already did 8.1. 8.2, wire inspector, National Grid, Verizon, New England, for installation of 2 JO poles for service at 9 Baldwin Street. Motion to accept and adopt the accompanying order by Councilor Getchia, seconded by Councilor Chow. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 8.3, wire inspector, Boston Gas, National Grid, request installation of a replacement gas regulator pit near Rogers and High Street. Motion to accept and adopt the accompanying order by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Robinson. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 9.1, petitions, claims for property damage. Motion to refer to Law Department for report and recommendation by Councilor Janess, seconded by Councilor Noon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. And items 9.2 and 9.6, these are all going to a public hearing on June 24th, 2025. 9.2, Boston Gas, National Grid request replacement of existing gas main at 1-9 Sheldon Street. 9.3, Boston Gas, National Grid request replacement of existing gas lines, gas mains at Lane and Horn Streets. 9.4, Boston Gas, National Grid request replacement of existing gas mains at Beacon, Willard, and 19th Streets. 9.5, Boston Gas, National Grid request replacement of existing gas mains at East Merrimack Street. And 9.6, Boston Gas, National Grid request replacement of existing gas mains at D, School, New Spalding, South Loring, and the East Streets. There's also Wood Court. Motion to refer to public hearing by Councilor Dakota, second by Councilor Chow, to refer to public hearing on June 24th at 7 p.m. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 10, City Council Executive Session, to consider and discuss potential contract amendment with Suffolk Construction relative to the Lowell High School project. Public discussion of which could have a detrimental effect on the city's position. Motion to enter executive session and adjourn from that session by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Belanger. Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yep.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia. Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Yam.
Yes.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of the entire City Council and the administration, we want to wish our clerk a happy and healthy birthday, sir. Happy birthday.
Forgot all about it.
And, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Mercia.
And on Thursday, this Thursday coming, we're having a senior citizen subcommittee at 1 o'clock at the senior centers. So it's not just about senior center issues, but seniors that have issues in their neighborhood. We'll be talking about a senior recreational playground, community issues regarding seniors. So thank you very much. Yeah, 1 o'clock.